I liked Halloween 2018. Halloween Kills, I did like, but I didn't think it was a real particularly great movie.
Which is funny because actually watching Halloween Kills, I enjoyed it and it made me appreciate the last film more.
I will
Because it
say that.
actually helped with some of the problems I had in the last film.
See, I was gonna say, I've heard mixed things about that movie.
It does have a horrible script. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
script is fucking horrid.
It's bad,
Like,
and it kind of takes itself a little too seriously
yes.
with certain messaging in
But
it
you know
and
what
other
I
stuff.
liked about it? It was kind of like it felt like an old bad horror movie.
Yeah, I will agree.
That's
I will
what I
agree with
liked
you
about
that
it. It had that
100%.
charm
Yes,
to it.
100%.
And because of them explaining the problem of the doctor in the last movie.
Yeah,
Like I was just able to
I'm
just
yeah.
explain so much more. Like, because I couldn't understand half of the shit that was going on. Like, because his part didn't make any sense. But it's like thinking back on it and the way they explain it in this movie, it's like, okay, so he was the one who was actually obsessed all around, which I got that in the first place, but it was like, you know, like I kind of basically answered my own question or the whole reason with it just for some reason them acknowledging it made it better, I guess. I don't know how that makes sense.
Yeah. I get that. See, that's what I agree with you on that too, because I know you had problems with the 2018. You didn't like it as much, but I really liked that first one. But then I agree with you. The explanation and the stuff they give you on the backstory that fills in what you missed out in the first one definitely works in that movie's favor. The flashbacks are amazing.
Yeah.
In Halloween Kills, I love the flashbacks. I just thought maybe they were a little out of place in where they placed them.
Maybe because a lot of people were griping that it drags down the first half.
Yeah,
I was surprised to see a lot of that stuff early on.
Yeah, me too. I kind of think they should have started with them driving away from the house and Michael killing all them, and then go into the flashbacks a little later. But I mean, once I've watched it twice now, so yeah, I have a better appreciation for it. The second time,
I gotta watch it again, but
yeah, I've watched it twice now. And I like it, but it's I don't think it's as good as 2018. The hospital scene, I can't stand that fucking hospital scene.
It does get a little like it does have this problem of like we've seen a lot of this shit before.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you go, and again, that was a new problem. Here was like, okay, we've seen so much of this before. Why are we doing this again? I mean, I get it, but this movie, you're right. This movie did feel like a lot of fan service.
Yeah.
Fans of Halloween 2 particularly will either love or hate this one for the same reasons.
Right.
That's the problem. Like I loved it because of the callbacks and it felt like it. And I've also had to just kind of like in the middle of this movie, I just kind of had this epiphany. I'm just kind of like, okay, this is like a streaming series now or a Marvel movie, right? Like you can't just watch this movie and take it as its own. And kind of the original Halloween 2 is like that.
Yeah, which I liked. I like that.
I mean, yeah, it's like at that point it kind of clicked to me. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait and see what they're gonna do with this whole thing before I could, judge it as a whole yet. But I don't mind this whole choose your own adventure thing at this point with Halloween.
Me either. I actually.
What else are we gonna do, right?
Yeah, I like the fact that you can start with one and go in all kinds of different directions. So honestly, I think that's really cool, and I think that's very unique for this franchise. And yeah, like I would like Deleted Scene says, Halloween Kills had its moments, but it didn't do much for me on the whole. C-. I mean, the ththing is, like you,
that's
Tom.
Better when he said his night of his review. He's lightened up a little on it.
Yeah. After, because I when I did my review, I only seen it one time, but I've seen it a second time, and
I can't remember. I think I watched part of your review, or I watched your review. But
yeah, check it out. Check out my review, anybody, if you want to see it. But yeah, after watching it a second, after watching it a second time, I think I appreciate it a little more. I do feel like it's one of the, like you said, I feel like it's a bad horror movie, but it's one of those good bad horror movies.
It felt more like a movie from like the 80s than we've had in a long time.
Yes.
And bad dialogue included, right?
Yes.
Like I guess maybe that was part of its charm for me.
And I absolutely love the score. I'm buying that album.
It's a decent score. It's not
as good as the last one,
but it's
not as good as the last one, but there are some like moments where the score that like I was like, this is awesome.
In fact, I'm curious how much of it is actually just reused from the last one, but I could be wrong.
Right.
I do have both of them. I just haven't listened to I did listen to them, but I couldn't. They're so synonymous with the two of them; they like almost feel like the same, like part of the same album. Like
Yeah.
they're just going to continue because the music is very consistent. That's for sure.
Yes, very consistent. But like you said, it did feel like an '80s slasher horror flick, which I really enjoyed, really loved. I think
I did like that they backed off on Michael's powers a little bit too, outside of him getting shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like that, and I know some people aren't a fan of the ending, but I actually really liked the ending. That was like one of the things I really liked.
I'm of two minds on the ending, because I heard about the deleted version, and I'm like, yeah, it's a little better, but the version we should have got is the one that Mike Joseph brought up, the guy who's usually on this with us.
Yes,
because he was on our review with us, and he said the ending should have been, and I agree with him. It should have been the daughter coming out and stopping the mob from killing Michael, repeating the same mistake that the sheriff did.
True. Yeah.
And then that would have set up the next sequel, and then you would have had, and that would also helped with the time jump.
Yeah.
Because now they've got to, because originally I think the reason they changed the ending, it was supposed to pick right up after the other, but then they didn't get to film part 3 right away.
Yeah, because
to me it makes no sense to pick up there, because you got Lori who's half fucking dead, you got her granddaughter who's got a broken ankle, and now of course we know the other his daughter's dead too, but like it's like there's nobody fucking left to do anything. And the sheriff's also bunged up in the fucking hospital. We don't know. We think Tommy's probably dead. I mean, and Lindsay's like the only one. Like I was hoping that Lindsay, Tommy, and her would make it, and it would be the trio going after him, recreating that night in a way, but just the three of them going after him.
That would have been cool. Like
we noticed in this movie there's a lot of mirrors, right? Like a lot of things that are mirrored.
Yeah, people
looking at their reflections. The whole idea of Michael looking, because like he gets the idea maybe he wasn't looking outside, he was looking at himself.
Yeah.
And that's where I was thinking, okay, the next movie's clearly going to flip the tables, and it's going to be them stalking Michael this time. So that would have made sense to kind of like have.
I think that would have been really good too.
But it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I'm kind of hearing about all the stuff they're talking about doing, but
I don't know. I did hear something about the pandemic and politics.
And the oddball time jump. Stuff. I heard 4-year time jump. Why 4 years? 4 is odd.
Oh, because they're setting it in 5s. Modern times.
Well, yeah, but Michael usually goes in 5s.
That's true. That is true, though. Yeah, you're right.
Even though this is only technically the second time he's ever come out, why would he just randomly pick 4 years later? That makes no sense.
You would think they did 5.
This is what I was gonna ask, because I haven't seen the movie. I did plan on it just because I was like, I want to watch the other Halloween movies before I watch that, just so I kind of like know what I'm getting into.
All you really need to do for those for 2018 and the new one is just watch the first one.
Yeah, that's what I've heard you say, and I've heard other people recommend like watch the first one, then 1 through 5, and then rewatch the first one, then watch 2018, then rewatch the first, and then Kills.
It's like, no, you don't need to do it. It's like Tommy said, it's a choose your own adventure. You can literally start with the first movie and go in any direction you want.
Yeah, but
you don't really need to have seen the other ones.
I understand that, but but here's the thing, Greg. I want to see the other ones. Like I want to see the older ones, just because.
Well, you have a couple different choices. You can go Halloween 2 and then H2O, or you can go Halloween 2, 4, 5, 6, or you can go Halloween 1 and then 2 new ones.
Yeah,
that's kind of the choose your own adventure at that point. And then Resurrection goes off of H2O, but that's not highly recommended.
That is, I know a lot of people give 5 crap, but I really think Resurrection is the worst.
I like Resurrection more than 5 simply because after the Lori scene, it's not that bad of a movie.
Right? It's a decent slasher.
It's a serviceable movie for a 7th goddamn flick.
Yeah, that's true. But Busta Rhymes would come in and save the day.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm with you, Liz, there. I really just skip Resurrection. I know people don't like 5, but I would rather watch 5 over Resurrection. I love 4 though. 1, 2, and 4 and 3 are my favorites.
I don't really like 4 all that. I mean, it's okay.
I get it though.
to me, it was just never one that was all.
Seriously, Runner, I think you'll enjoy them. 1 and 2 are probably the best. I personally like 4. I think it's something to do with the feel of the movie.
4's not bad. I mean, it's got a lot of Loomis in it.
Yeah, like I said, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are my
ending.
favorite Halloween.
And the ending sets the rest of the movies off on a bad fucking.
Yes, that is true. That is probably the worst thing about 4 is the ending, because you think they're going to go in one direction, and then of course they can't, because some fans of the movie have become connected to certain characters and stuff. So, because I don't want to spoil it for Runner.
It was pure stupidity.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. All right.
But I personally like 4.
I was gonna say like you can spoil it to me, but at the same time, I guess not.
5 though has 5 does have its moments, but I hate that one character so much. Tina, yes, I can't fucking stand. She's the Jar Jar Binks of horror movies.
Yeah, she's bad.
She's bad. But she is. She is the Jar Jar Binks. She's worse than anybody. She's worse than Crispin Glover in Friday the 13th Part 4.
Damn, that's bad.
She's worse than all of these.
But I like Crispin Glover.
Yeah, I know he's on the higher end. But like, no, like you put all the worst characters you ever had in a horror movie. It's Tina.
Yeah,
like, in that
Tina's
movie,
bad.
It's the worst ever.
And it's so many fake outs from that one guy.
So fucking annoying.
And it's bad. It's bad. And Part 6, I personally, after growing attached to certain,
I've heard a lot of
character,
that was bad.
Yeah, you know what? I found out. I think why Part 5 was so horrible.
Why?
It's because I believe the director was fucking her. From what I heard,
that makes sense. And plus, he was French.
He was letting her do whatever the fuck she want in any scene, getting her as much screen time as possible.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And then, like what I said with Part 6, where Paul Rudd comes in, if you've become connected to a certain character in the Part 4 and 5, the beginning is annoying. It pisses you off a little bit, but once you really get past that, it's really not too bad.
I don't really hate 6. I don't
really hate 6. I like Paul Rudd. In fact,
I think I actually probably like the theatrical cut better.
Oh yeah, I got the producer's cut, but it's not as good as the theatrical
it's a slog.
cut. Yeah, it is.
It has so many it's fun just for the fucked upicity of it. For the term, just to have it as kind of like an experimental thing, like. But no, in fact, even though Alan Howarth hates it, I actually kind of like the music in the theatrical version a little better too. I kind of like the little heavy metal bent to it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
It needed something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I liked it.
The same music over and over and over. And over. And it made Howarth walk away from the series because they fucked with his music so much. But I kind of like the electric guitar theme.
So did I. I kind of like it. It's like it wasn't too bad. Darth Malak says, "I thought it was."
Oh, was it Nicotero? I knew it was somebody she was doing. Maybe she was doing all of them for all we know.
That's probably how she got into it.
That's what. Yeah, that's basically what I heard she was doing. I thought it was the director, but maybe it was one of them. Doesn't matter. She was doing somebody. Got into every bit of it she could.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, the Myers cult, the cult of the Thorn, and the Man in Black. Yeah, they're bizarre and kind of.
Well, they kind of
leave this series
down Part 6, actually.
Yeah,
but then they don't. It's like,
but that gives you something to look forward to, Runner.
Nothing.
But I'm
goddamn thing.
I like it though. I'm definitely interested to see where Halloween Ends goes, because.
You know what? Actually,
I've softened a little bit after watching that.
All the ones we mentioned, they're not nearly as bad as H2.
No. Rob Zombie's. Oh my god.
None of them.
I was gonna say, what about Rob Zombies?
Those are the
worst. If that's up there with like the worst movies of all time.
Yes, they're. I mean, the first one, as much as I fucking hate that first one, it's got some good stuff in it.
Kid saves that movie with fucking Roddy McDowall. Like, if that movie was just those two.
See, that's what I would like to have seen.
It'd have been a different movie.
Take out all the shit about him and his parents and the shit he went through, because that explains. I totally get. Oh yeah, that kid's going to be a fucking serial killer. Period. But if you go straight to maybe right after he kills his sister, into like Roddy McDowall and right. Why am I saying Roddy McDowell? Malcolm McDowell.
I do it myself. Don't feel
Yeah,
bad.
if you go right into Malcolm McDowell and him in the hospital for most of the chunk of the movie, and maybe him trying to reach him and stuff, now that's a movie.
Yeah, and setting up like a future of like, you know, other things, but like, yeah, because like that's what I loved about this. Malcolm made sure he never watched the original.
Yes, so his Loomis is very different, which it helps his
Yeah.
performance.
And
Yes.
the same thing with Michael. Michael's very different. And I mean, I
Yes.
wouldn't even necessarily like, I don't like the whole hillbilly family bit.
Yeah,
But there's
it's
certain
horrible.
parts of that first bit I do like. Like that first kill and stuff was really
Yeah.
in your face, and just if you felt it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you there.
And to me, it was almost like you kind of needed that because you're getting that. It just seemed to work with the movie so well. I mean, maybe if you even started it between there and then like lead it up to that night, but like, yeah, I agree. Like the problem with the zombie movie was what made Michael scary is he came from a normal, everyday Midwest family, and nobody could explain why he did what he did. Right? Like it was just a turn of events that just went. It made this kid just went like nuts. You know, so like that's kind of what they needed to do. Is you needed to show like this sweet, innocent child all of a sudden just take a turn for the worse for no good reason.
Right.
And then just turn inward. And that's what that should have been, is that story of, you know, that decay of Michael going deeper and deeper and deeper into himself. And that would have been an interesting kind of story and concept to set up for a future, you know, new Michael Myers. But you didn't have to do the same damn thing, right? Like you could have just done
I
something
agree.
new.
I mean, like he was saying, like Rob Zombie has said, the reason he likes part 2 so much better than part 1 is because he didn't have to be held to what came before it. He could do whatever he wanted. And boy,
no
God,
one said he had to do that in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. If he would have, I think if, like you said, if you would have focused on that, you could have seen like this relationship between Loomis and Michael grow, and you could have, you know, the kid into adulthood.
And you could have
and that could have been
kills.
a movie. Yeah,
you could have the kid killing people. Like he kills like what, 3 people before he even gets out of the sanitarium?
Yeah, he kills like Danny Trejo. Did he kill the chick?
He kills that one nurse lady with the fork.
Yeah,
or the knife, or whatever it was he got his hands on. I think it was a fork.
You could have actually led that movie up to the night he escapes, and he could have. I mean, that could have been like the whole killing spree.
Well, the end could have just been when he quit talking altogether.
Yeah,
right. Like you just kind of slowly lead up to this ending where, because like you have these scenes where it's just kind of like, you know, you go months and months and months, and it's like, and then he just won't talk no more, and it's just, you know, by the end of the movie, it's just Loomis talking to himself, basically. And so like you spend like the last 20 minutes of it just Loomis realizing that this guy's gone, you know, and then like you said, just set it up like he's just looking out that window waiting for that night. Just like Loomis said, he was just standing there staring, waiting, watching for this night tonight, you know, and you just set it up for that night.
See, now that's movie.
And then you do a whole new story. You don't have to do the whole fucking same thing again.
Yeah, and you could have took it off into a different direction, like a sequel. His sequel could have been him escaping, and then maybe you have Laurie, maybe you don't. Maybe it's something different. Maybe he stalks other babysitters or something.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be Laurie per se. You just have something new and different, and I would have been fine with that, because there's aspects. And no, Tyrell, it was the first movie has good moments.
It does.
And it is an interesting take, and I do give him credit for trying to do something different, but the problem is that last half falls right into being the exact same fucking movie, almost word for word, and you get to a point where you're just like, what is he trying to do here? I mean, the first half of this movie felt like, you know, the true crime story of Michael Myers, and now we're just watching somebody doing a remake of the original with less likable actors other than what's her face who played Jamie. Right?
Yeah, Danielle Harris,
and all of them are way too fucking old. They're all in their fucking 30s, and the one chick, you cannot hide it.
I know, especially when that one gets completely naked. You're like, there's no way this chick's a teenager.
Her boobs are on Social Security, for fuck's
sake. Exactly. It's like, you're trying to tell me this girl's 17 years old? She looks like she's 35.
No, and as far as part 2 goes, that it was a quadruple piss off, right? Because first of all, they tease you by making you think it's going to be almost like the original part 2, and then you realize, no, that was just a fucking dream. Then, besides that, the way they killed Michael in both versions at the end, it's like, how the fuck is he still alive? Got half of his fucking head blown off.
Right.
But he's still alive. The only part I liked about part 2 was that they actually showed Laurie in a position that somebody who had gone through that kind of trauma really would act. And that was something we never really got to see from Laurie in the other versions. Right. And her being in college and stuff like that was stuff that Tommy Lee Wallace said he wished they actually would have done for the sequel. Because he said if he would have signed on to part 2, if it would have been more like H2O. Like he thought it should have been like 4 or 5 years later, and now Laurie's at college and Michael comes stalking her at college, and that would have been his idea for a sequel. But instead, they wanted to do the same night. He's like, I don't want to do the same night. And then he read the script, and he's like, all this is just fucking gore from one end to the other. And it's like, I don't want to make a Friday the 13th ripoff. That's not what Halloween's all about. He's like, fuck that noise. And he said, thanks, but no thanks. You know, and it was a big movie. He should have, I mean, really, I mean, and in hindsight, look what he did. He made Halloween 3, and that was reviled at the time. And it was like, anyway. Which
is actually a good movie. So, Runner, when you do, if you do watch them, I would say
watch Halloween 3 first without watching the other one.
Yeah, that's actually smart. Yeah, watch Halloween because they don't have. There's literally no connection.
It don't matter. In fact, you're better off not, because then you'll have no expectations going into Halloween 3.
Right. Halloween 3 has nothing to do with Michael Myers.
Yeah, just know that it has nothing to do with Michael Myers. It has nothing to do with the other films. It's
I've heard about that.
And it's a good movie, but people dump on it just because it was, at the time, it was a popular thing to dump on because Michael Myers isn't in it.
Yeah.
And it has no connection with the other movie. Yeah.